If you were following the NBA around the time of the 2014 NBA draft, then you know who Dante Exum is. He was featured in a lot of commercials leading up to the draft, was seen as in the conversation for the first overall pick, and ended up going 5th overall to the Utah Jazz. He was seen as the next great point guard for Utah, and the replacement for Deron Williams, who had left in 2011 after being the face of the franchise for a few years. This was 3 years before Gordon Hayward would make his lone All-Star team with Utah, and the Jazz were very much in need of a new face of the franchise. Many expected it to be Exum, who drew heavy comparisons to a player that had just won Rookie of the Year in Michael Carter-Williams, and Bleacher Report even said he could be a similar player to Penny Hardaway. He would spend 5 years in Utah, then another couple in Cleveland before being out of the league entirely after the 2021 season. He had never even eclipsed 10 points per game for a season. By pretty much all standards, he was a draft bust. He was not a star guard, which the Jazz expected when selecting him in the top 5. He spent the last 2 years back in Europe, and most believed his NBA career was already over. But if you're watching this, then you likely know that's not the case. The Mavs signed him to a 2-year minimum contract this offseason in what could be viewed as a final chance to make a name for himself in the league. Now, he's breaking out at the age of 28 years old. He hit a career-high 6 threes in the Mavs win over the Lakers last night, and honestly won Dallas the game. Over his last 3 games, he's averaged 22 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds per game, looking like the player many thought he could originally be. He's been huge for the Mavs with all the injuries they've faced, and has emerged as a starter for one of the best teams in the Western Conference. In one of the most shocking comebacks of the past few years, Exum has gone from a bust and out of the league entirely to a key player for Luka and the Mavs. Dante Exum is saving his career with the Dallas Mavericks. Now let's take a deeper look. Before we get into Dante Exum's great redemption story, if you enjoy my content and watch a few videos of mine, think about subscribing. 96% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so if you watched me before and enjoy the content, drop a sub and comment down below. It really helps the channel. Despite the Dallas Mavericks missing some key players, including star point guard Kyrie Irving, they've managed to pull off 4 wins in a row, the first time since they kicked off the season with a 4-0 start. Luka Doncic is on fire, putting up MVP-level stats with 36 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, 1.5 steals, and 1.5 blocks per game in December so far. But don't forget about Dante Exum, the 28-year-old making a comeback after a stint overseas. He's played a huge part in the Mavs' recent winning streak too. In their nail-biting 127-125 victory against the sizzling Lakers on Tuesday, Exum turned heads with a season-high 26 points and a career-best 7 threes, shooting a remarkable 8 of 10 from the field. Not to mention, he threw in 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a steal during his 36 minutes. And get this, Exum, usually recognized for his fierce defense, had only nailed 8 threes the entire season before sinking 7 against the Lakers alone. Talk about a steal. The Mavs snagged Exum on a veteran minimum deal during the offseason, and it looks like they hit the jackpot. In his last 3 games, he's been averaging 21.6 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 5.3 assists. Plus, here's a fun fact, the Mavs are a perfect 4-0 when he's in the starting lineup. Check out the Mavs making moves. They're sitting pretty at 15-8 for the season, grabbing the 3rd spot in the Western Conference standings. This is the kind of start we haven't seen since Jason Kidd took over the coaching reins. They're now 7 games above 500, which is a whole different look from last season. Sure, it's early days in this 82-game marathon, but Exum has been a game changer for the Mavs. If he keeps up this crazy momentum, we might be looking at the Mavs as legitimate contenders. Oh, and you know what that means? Exum's next contract? It's going to be as massive as his impact on the court. Dante Exum is saving his career with the Dallas Mavericks. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.